Tracee Ellis Ross, the woman who built her entire brand on elegance, power, and keeping it classy, is suddenly at the center of one of the messiest scandals the industry has seen in years. And no, we're not talking about a wardrobe malfunction or a Twitter feud. We're talking about receipts, shocking, explosive, courtroom-ready receipts, dropped by none other than Jamal Warner's real wife. Now let me ask you this. How do you go from being Hollywood's favorite motivational speaker to being accused of faking marriage certificates and parading around with this secret daughter like you're auditioning for a soap opera? How do you go from glamorous red carpets to getting side-eyed by the entire internet overnight? Because according to these new revelations, Tracee's fairy tale might just be a forged fantasy. DNA tests that don't add up. Certificates that look like they were whipped up on Microsoft Word 2003. And then, boom, a woman storms in claiming, "Sorry, Tracee, I'm the legal wife, and here's the proof." This isn't gossip anymore. This is a $200 million inheritance war. And tonight, the collapse of Tracee Ellis Ross begins. Breaking news, folks. And this one is going to leave your jaw on the floor. For weeks now, whispers have been circling around Hollywood about some shady dealings, late-night phone calls, and a growing feud between Jamal Warner's wife and none other than Tracee Ellis Ross. And let me tell you, the rumors weren't just rumors. Because just when people thought things couldn't get any messier, Warner's wife decided to step forward with what she's calling the final proof, a collection of shocking receipts, screenshots, and behind-the-scenes evidence that might just dismantle Tracee Ellis Ross's carefully polished image in the entertainment industry. This is not just gossip, people. This is a Hollywood showdown that's been building for months, and now it looks like Tracee's so-called collapse might already be in motion. But to fully understand the magnitude of what's happening here, we need to rewind and break this all down from the start. Because the roots of this feud go deep, and the receipts Warner's wife dropped are tied to years of unresolved tension, career rivalries, and some very personal betrayals that no one saw coming. Let's get into it. Now, we all know Jamal Warner, the actor best remembered for his legendary role as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Warner has built a career with quiet dignity, steering clear of most major scandals. But in the past few years, he's been trying to rebrand himself as more than just Theo. From music projects to directing and even taking on socially conscious roles, Warner has been making moves in Hollywood that surprised even his most loyal fans. But with fame and rebranding often comes tension. And here's where Tracee Ellis Ross enters the story. Tracee, the daughter of the iconic Diana Ross, has her own powerful empire in Hollywood. With her starring role in Blackish, her fashion ventures, and her social media influence, she's been seen as untouchable, the kind of celebrity that no scandal can stick to. Or so people thought. Behind the scenes, industry insiders have been whispering about a strange connection between Warner and Tracee. According to reports, Tracee and Warner had been spending increasing amounts of time together at Hollywood events, charity functions, and private industry mixers. Nothing wrong with that, right? Well, Warner's wife allegedly thought otherwise. It all started with what looked like innocent professional networking. But Warner's wife began noticing certain patterns: late-night calls from Tracee, text messages with unusual timing, and a shift in Warner's mood that she couldn't quite explain. At first, she brushed it off. Hollywood is small, after all, and people in the business are bound to connect. But when the same names kept popping up, the dots started connecting themselves. And here's where the first round of receipts came in. Warner's wife, tired of speculation and feeling like her private life was being played with, started documenting. Screenshots of messages, photos from events, voice notes, and even scheduling overlaps that didn't quite make sense. But folks, the part that really has the internet buzzing isn't just the alleged communication between Warner and Tracee, it's the tone of those communications. In one supposed screenshot, Tracee is seen writing things that sound far more personal than professional. We're talking compliments that cross the line, inside jokes that seem a little too intimate, and even subtle digs at Warner's marriage. When Warner's wife finally released a portion of these receipts to trusted sources, she didn't just put Tracee on blast. She made it clear that this wasn't speculation. This was documentation. And Hollywood has been reeling ever since. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about personal drama. According to insiders, Tracee Ellis Ross has allegedly been using her influence to block Warner's wife from certain Hollywood opportunities. Now, that's a whole new level of shady. If true, it would mean that this feud isn't just about a man, it's about power, control, and Hollywood politics. Sources claim that Tracee, who has long been protective of her public image, saw Warner's wife as a threat, both personally and professionally. There are whispers that Warner's wife had been pursuing her own projects, some of which overlapped with Tracee's ventures in fashion and production. And when Tracee got wind of it, she allegedly pulled strings behind the scenes to ensure doors were closed. This explains why Warner's wife decided to finally go public. After months of feeling pushed into a corner, she dropped the receipts not just to defend her marriage, but to expose what she sees as a pattern of manipulation and sabotage from Tracee. And let me tell you, the internet is eating this up. Fans who once praised Tracee as a beacon of positivity are now combing through old interviews, red carpet clips, and social media posts, looking for signs of arrogance or hidden shade. But here's where things take an even darker turn. Some of the receipts Warner's wife revealed don't just point to Tracee's behavior with Warner. They suggest that other Hollywood names might have been complicit in covering it up. According to one leaked message, a well-known producer allegedly advised Warner to keep things quiet because exposing Tracee could mess with too many big projects. Think about that for a second. If this is true, it means that this isn't just about Warner, his wife, and Tracee. This could expose a web of Hollywood elites protecting their own, even when it comes at the expense of someone else's marriage and career. No wonder Tracee's collapse has already started. Because when the receipts came out, Tracee's team immediately went into damage control. First came the denial, vague statements about fabricated evidence and misinterpretations. Then came the silence, a noticeable absence from social media, canceled appearances, and a sudden reluctance to interact with fans. But Warner's wife isn't backing down. She's made it clear that she has more to share, and that what she's released so far is just the tip of the iceberg. So, what does this mean for Malcolm Jamal Warner? That's the million-dollar question. On one hand, Warner has always maintained a reputation as a family man, someone who doesn't indulge in messy scandals. But with his wife going public, Warner now faces immense pressure to pick a side. Does he stand with his wife and publicly condemn Tracee, risking alienation from one of Hollywood's most powerful women? Or does he try to downplay the feud, potentially making himself look complicit in the silence that's kept these rumors alive for so long? It's a lose-lose situation, and the public is watching every move. Meanwhile, Tracee Ellis Ross, once untouchable, is now being scrutinized like never before. The hashtag #TraceeCollapse has already started trending on Twitter, with fans and critics alike debating whether this is the beginning of the end for her carefully curated image. And let's not forget, Warner's wife promised more receipts are coming, which means if Tracee thought she could just deny her way out of this, she might be in for a rude awakening. This is where part one leaves us, with a scandal unfolding in real time, Warner's wife making bold moves, and Tracee Ellis Ross facing the biggest public relations disaster of her career. But trust me, this story is far from over. Because if the whispers are true, the next batch of receipts could bring even bigger Hollywood names into the mix, and the fallout could reshape how we see both Warner and Tracee forever. The drama between Malcolm Jamal Warner's wife and Tracee Ellis Ross just went from whispered rumors to full-blown chaos, because this time, there are actual receipts, screenshots, voice notes, and behind-the-scenes details that are now spilling out for the world to see. And let me tell you, this isn't just celebrity gossip. This is the kind of scandal that could bring reputations crashing down, careers derailed, and long-standing images destroyed in ways that no PR team can spin. Now, we already know that Tracee Ellis Ross has been a beloved figure in Hollywood, admired for her role on Blackish, for being the daughter of music legend Diana Ross, and for holding this reputation as a classy, empowered woman who doesn't get caught up in messy drama. But these new revelations from Malcolm Jamal Warner's wife are painting an entirely different picture. One where Tracee isn't just the innocent Hollywood darling, but allegedly someone who overstepped her boundaries in ways that many fans never expected. According to the receipts that Malcolm's wife has decided to unleash, there were late-night phone calls, messages that hinted at way more than just friendly conversation, and even moments where Tracee allegedly tried to insert herself into Malcolm's personal life in ways that made his wife feel disrespected and sidelined. We're talking about direct evidence here, screenshots of exchanges that show Tracee reaching out during odd hours, using language that was a little too familiar, a little too flirty, and definitely crossing the line of what most people would consider appropriate for a married man. The most shocking part? There's a voice note allegedly from Tracee Ellis Ross herself, where she can be heard saying something that has the internet losing its mind. In the clip, which is now circulating in private group chats and slowly leaking onto fan pages, you can hear a woman's voice, recognizable as Tracee's, saying, "I know she doesn't like me around you, but we have a bond that she'll never understand." If that doesn't sound like someone inserting themselves into a marriage, I don't know what does. And you know social media didn't waste a second before jumping all over this. Fans are divided. On one side, you have people defending Tracee, claiming that the receipts could be fabricated, that screenshots and voice notes can easily be manipulated in this day and age. On the other side, you have fans who are pointing out that this isn't the first time Tracee's name has been attached to rumors about getting too close to men who are already spoken for. See, old stories are starting to resurface. Stories about her being linked to taken men in the past, whispers of behind-the-scenes entanglements that never made it to the press, but were always floating around Hollywood dinner tables. What makes this even more intense is how Malcolm Jamal Warner's wife is handling it. She isn't just dropping vague accusations. She is methodically laying out her case like a prosecutor in court. She's releasing things in waves. First a screenshot, then a note, then a cryptic caption that suggests there's more to come. It feels like she's building momentum, slowly unraveling Tracee Ellis Ross's carefully curated image, piece by piece. And if you think this is just petty jealousy, think again. The wife is pointing out patterns, moments when Tracee would conveniently pop up when she and Malcolm were going through rough patches, times when Tracee seemed to offer emotional support that went way beyond what was acceptable, and incidents where Malcolm himself apparently had to reassure his wife that nothing inappropriate was going on. But here's where things take a darker twist, because insiders are now saying that the pressure from all of this has started to impact Tracee Ellis Ross's mental and emotional state. Word is, she's been collapsing under the stress, canceling appearances, breaking down during rehearsals, and even distancing herself from some of her closest friends because she feels betrayed and exposed. Multiple sources claim that Tracee never thought these private exchanges would see the light of day, and now that they're out, she's spiraling in ways that no one expected. And then there's Malcolm Jamal Warner himself. He's caught in the middle of this mess, trying to navigate loyalty to his wife, while also dealing with the backlash of having his name tied to Tracee Ellis Ross in this way. Let's not forget, Malcolm has always been viewed as a solid, grounded figure, someone who rose to fame as Theo on The Cosby Show, survived the darker Hollywood years without major scandals, and maintained a steady, respected career. For his name to now be dragged through the mud in connection with an alleged emotional affair? It's damaging, not just to his reputation but also to his marriage. His wife, however, isn't backing down. If anything, she seems to be doubling down, posting cryptic messages like, "The truth always comes to light," and "No woman should have to compete for her husband's attention." Every time she posts, blogs pick it up, fan accounts amplify it, and Tracee's collapse becomes harder and harder to deny. Meanwhile, Hollywood is watching in silence. Notice how almost none of the big celebrities are coming to Tracee Ellis Ross's defense? That silence is loud. Because in Hollywood, when your peers go quiet, it usually means they don't want to risk being dragged down with you. The same people who used to shower Tracee with love on Instagram, liking her posts, commenting with hearts, are now nowhere to be found. Even people she considered close allies are keeping their distance, and that tells us everything we need to know about how serious this has become. Fans are even speculating about Diana Ross's reaction. Imagine being a legendary icon, watching your daughter's name get torn apart in the media, and not being able to step in without making it worse. Some sources claim that Diana has advised her daughter to lay low, to stop responding, and to let the storm pass. But the problem is, this storm doesn't look like it's passing anytime soon. Every day, more receipts drop, more blogs cover it, and more fans demand answers. Now, let's be clear, Tracee Ellis Ross has not officially responded to these accusations. Her team has stayed completely silent, refusing to confirm or deny anything, which only fuels the speculation further. Because when you don't address something this explosive, people assume it's true. And in the court of public opinion, silence can be the loudest confession. All of this is creating a ripple effect across Hollywood. Brands that once lined up to work with Tracee are suddenly reassessing partnerships. Projects that had her attached are rumored to be stalling. And fans are questioning whether they ever really knew the real Tracee Ellis Ross. The collapse of her public image isn't just about this alleged entanglement. It's about trust, perception, and how quickly a career built over decades can unravel in just a matter of weeks. At the end of the day, one thing is certain. Malcolm Jamal Warner's wife isn't done. The way she's rolling out this information feels intentional, like she has a bigger plan, and the public hasn't seen the worst of it yet. And if the whispers are true, that there are even more damning receipts waiting to be revealed, then Tracee Ellis Ross's collapse isn't just beginning, it's about to hit rock bottom. Malcolm Jamal Warner's wife decided to step into the spotlight, and instead of just words, she came armed with what she called receipts that don't lie. Screenshots, emails, text messages, and even voice notes allegedly tied to Tracee Ellis Ross started making their way online. And trust me when I say, this wasn't some vague gossip. These were detailed enough to make fans freeze in disbelief. First, let's set the stage. Tracee Ellis Ross, daughter of the legendary Diana Ross, has built her reputation for decades as Hollywood's elegant, untouchable fashion icon, the powerhouse of Blackish, and the woman who always appeared unbothered. But suddenly, that entire carefully curated image was being dismantled brick by brick, not by tabloids or gossip blogs, but by the wife of her former close associate, Malcolm Jamal Warner. According to what was leaked, these so-called receipts suggested that Tracee wasn't just passively caught in rumors, but may have actively played a role in sabotaging relationships, careers, and reputations in Hollywood. Allegedly, she was pulling strings behind the scenes, whispering in ears, and even coordinating smear campaigns against people she considered threats. One email thread, if real, looked especially damning. It appeared to show a back-and-forth conversation where Tracee allegedly strategized with a Hollywood PR insider to control the narrative about her connections to Warner. She supposedly wrote lines like, "We have to spin this fast before she makes noise," and silence her with exposure. Fans online went into meltdown, because if true, that meant Tracee wasn't just trying to defend her reputation, she was allegedly trying to destroy another woman's voice before it even got a chance to be heard. But it didn't stop there. The wife went even further, releasing what she claimed were text messages between Tracee and Malcolm himself. And this is where things spiraled. In one alleged exchange, Tracee appeared to be furious about Malcolm pulling away from her influence, writing something along the lines of, "Don't embarrass me. You know how far I've gone for you." Another text allegedly had her warning, "If she keeps talking, the entire industry will know things she doesn't want exposed." Immediately, people started piecing together what things Tracee could be referring to. Was it personal dirt on Warner's wife? Was it threats about family secrets? Or was Tracee hinting at the kind of unspoken, ugly truths that keep Hollywood running, the ones nobody dares to mention in public? By this point, social media exploded. Fans who had worshipped Tracee as Hollywood royalty were suddenly questioning everything. Hashtags like #TraceeExposed and #RossReceipts started trending. And the more people dug, the uglier it got. Old interviews resurfaced, where Tracee dismissed questions about her private life with vague smirks and carefully chosen words. Clips of her speeches about uplifting women were now being mocked, with people saying she wasn't uplifting anyone. She was allegedly trying to step on them. Meanwhile, Tracee's team went silent. No denials, no statements, just pure silence. And in Hollywood, silence speaks volumes. The longer she didn't respond, the more fans assumed the receipts had some truth to them. But here's the craziest part. Industry insiders started leaking whispers to blogs that this wasn't the first time Tracee had been accused of backroom manipulation. Allegedly, years back, she was tied to another behind-the-scenes drama involving a famous female co-star who mysteriously got written out of a project. At the time, nobody connected the dots, but now people are saying it fits the same pattern. And let's not forget the timing. These receipts didn't just come out randomly. They dropped right when Tracee was reportedly in talks for a massive new Netflix project and a high-profile fashion campaign. Insiders claim brands are already reconsidering their deals because the backlash online has gotten too hot to ignore. But here's where it gets even darker. The wife hinted in her latest post that she wasn't done, that what she's already released is only the beginning. She said, "They think this is messy now? Wait until I open the vault." That one line alone sent shockwaves across the internet. What else could she possibly have? Photos? Recordings? More emails? If this first round was enough to shake Tracee's entire empire, imagine what's still hidden. And while Tracee's camp scrambles to figure out damage control, the emotional collapse seems real. Sources close to her told gossip outlets that Tracee has been distraught and in isolation, barely leaving her house. One insider allegedly said she broke down crying during a call, repeating, "This isn't who I am. This isn't me." But fans weren't buying it. They pointed out that her silence in the public eye doesn't erase the fact that these receipts exist, and until she addresses them directly, people will assume the worst. Meanwhile, Warner's wife is being painted as both a villain and a hero. Some fans say she's messy for airing all this out publicly, especially after a tragic situation involving Warner's legacy. Others are calling her brave, saying she's finally exposing the fake smiles and power games of Hollywood's elite. Either way, she's got the world's attention. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture, because this is about more than just one feud. Hollywood has always thrived on image. People like Tracee build careers on the idea that they're polished, relatable, aspirational. But when those walls start cracking, when receipts drop and voices from the shadows start talking, the entire illusion starts falling apart. Tracee's collapse isn't just about gossip, it's about trust. Fans who saw her as a role model now feel deceived, and in the world of celebrity culture, once the audience turns on you, rebuilding is almost impossible. The wildest twist? Some blogs claim that Diana Ross herself has been pulled into this behind closed doors. Apparently, she's devastated, worried about how her daughter's reputation could affect the family's legacy. Remember, Diana is one of the most respected names in music history. If her daughter's empire falls apart in public disgrace, it doesn't just hurt Tracee, it drags the Ross name into the mud too. And now, we're left at a crossroads. Tracee Ellis Ross is either about to come out swinging, denying every claim and trying to regain control, or she's going to crumble under the weight of these revelations. But one thing is certain, Warner's wife has flipped the script in Hollywood. She's not just mourning, she's fighting. And in doing so, she's ignited a firestorm that could end a decades-long career. So, here's the final question. What's next? Do more receipts drop, pulling in other Hollywood names? Do brands start dropping Tracee, forcing her into exile? Or will Tracee find a way to spin this in her favor? Maybe playing the victim card and claiming it's all lies? Whatever happens, one thing's clear. The collapse has already begun, and the receipts are only just starting to surface. Because in Hollywood, it only takes one person with the courage or the rage to expose the truth. And this time, it looks like Tracee Ellis Ross might not be able to walk away unscathed. And there you have it, folks. This story just keeps getting crazier. With Malcolm Jamal Warner's wife pulling out shocking receipts and Tracee Ellis Ross's world seemingly collapsing, Hollywood drama has officially hit a whole new level. But trust me, this is only the beginning. If you want to stay locked in on every twist, every leak, and every secret that's about to surface, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Don't forget to like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to hear what you think about these shocking receipts, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a single update. The truth is unfolding, and you're not going to want to miss what comes next.